Hello, it's
Hello.
Sheila. Hello, it's Sheila Preston here from Thriving Facilitators. I run the Thriving Facilitators membership, and today I'm talking with Jen Walmsley, who is the co-artistic director of Bareface Theatre Company, and she's here to talk about her company and also about why and how she joined Thriving Facilitators and what that means for her. So, hello, Jen.
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming.
Hello.
We've agreed we're going to treat this like we're having a cup of tea together.
Yeah.
And it's just a chat. But yeah, why don't you start by just sharing with people, what you do with Bareface Theatre Company. I know that you're becoming pretty well known in your sector for the work that you do. So why don't you tell us what you do? And just start by that. Tell us what you're about.
Okay, so we are called Bareface Theatre. We are a community interest company and we are based in Hampshire. We're specifically based at the Point in Eastleigh, and we work across the whole of Hampshire, the Isle of Wight, and also surrounding counties. I guess I am, as much as running the company, I'm also at the heart of it an applied theatre practitioner, and we deliver arts-based programs to men and women who are affected by the criminal justice system. And so basically what that means is we are working with men in prison and women in prison and also men and women on probation. So I'm going to speak pre-COVID because it's better that way. We work in in HMP YOI Winchester with men, both on the main prison, and also in resettlement. And we also work with the young offenders in there too. And we also work with women who are living on the pipe unit in HMP Send, which is a women's prison. And they are, so pipe basically stands for psychologically informed planned environment. So these women have been diagnosed primarily with personality disorder, but they come with many different complex needs. And that environment is really a nurturing one. And then our bulk of our work is working across all of the women's centres in Hampshire and the Isle of Wight. So that's working with women on probation. And our work has also progressed into working with staff, so female, the female probation practitioners as well. We're really interested in that. So yeah, that's kind of who we've been working with. The work is tailored to the groups that we work with and the need there. We're responsive to the groups that we have, but ultimately, I've been really thinking about this, that ultimately the structure of our work is pretty much the same to start off with. The exercises and the activities that we use are the same across the board, but we use them very differently to suit the groups that we're with. And ultimately, it's about giving people an opportunity to collaborate, to learn, to communicate in different ways, try new things through. Basically, we aim to just have fun. There is a lot of process that goes with it. It is self-reflective. But yeah, we basically believe in joyful, vibrant communication, which is very much grounded in a mutual respect. So we promote equality and empathy and genuineness, really, for all of the groups that we work with.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic, and it's been growing over the last. How many years have you been doing this?
We established our community. We were established together. So Kate and I mainly, who worked together, we were students together and graduated in 2004. But we set up a company called Tree Creeper, which was set up in 2012. But that was primarily based around working with young people. So our background is very much youth theatre, employability, using the arts to engage learning. And we changed into Bareface. We've always wanted to work in. I should tell you that basically Kate and I, as students, we were at King Alfred's College and we worked in Winchester Prison. And when we worked in there,
in 2004 or before?
Yeah, no, 2002 we went in there.
A long time. Yeah.
Kate went in there even before and worked with Pimlico Opera. We worked with Annie McKean and Playing for Time as students when in West Hill when it was women. And then I went on and did some voluntary work on the men's side. So even when we left in 2004, like I basically just needed to get back into HMP Winchester. So we always knew that we wanted to transfer the work back into working with people in the criminal justice system. And through Tree Creeper, we were doing stuff with the yacht, but we felt we needed to rebrand, and we were moving further away from sort of working with children in that way, that we changed to Barefaced and became a Kick in 2012. So really that's when we started sort of, oh sorry, not 2012, 2015 I think we became Barefaced.
Yeah,
I should know those facts, but when you're working really hard, you know, it's by the by, because the work's important. But yeah, we've been working with the CRC since 2016. And in prison since 2018. So yeah, we've been pushing it for sure.
Yeah. So a long time you've been working.
Yeah, it's the short answer, Sheila. Yeah.
So I'm just sort of wondering, because you know we're about kind of how we support facilitators and practitioners. Just thinking about you in that work and you and your colleagues. You know, what are the challenges of that sort of work for practitioners? What have you experienced as a challenge?
There's a few. There's a fair few. I think there's many different layers to the challenges that you come across. One of them is the arts in general, and trying to fight for the value of it in institutions like the criminal justice system. The challenge is trying to shift, but offering opportunities for people to shift their perspective on what theatre means and what it can do and the value of it, not just for the group that you're working with, but also for those external factors. So when you're freelance, you have to talk to a lot of different people. And this isn't just a treat. It's not just about us going in. Not that there's anything wrong with going in and having jazz hands. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's not necessarily what we do unless people want to do that. I guess what I'm saying is that there's a lot of disrespect I've found around having the arts in, and it's often used as a fluffy option. And because the work is actually very reflective, I think that people that aren't in the world of applied theatre or art therapy, we're not art therapists, but in that sort of world, people don't understand it as much. So that's a challenge. And being on your own as a practitioner, I guess. Like Kate and I partner with Hampshire Cultural Trust, and they've been incredibly supportive to help us kind of get this work in and supporting us developing it. But obviously we are working with people with very complex needs and behaviours, and we're freelance, so it's down to us to make sure that we are ready, that we are experienced, that we're reflective, that we're learning, and we are our own boss, so we're kind of in charge of that. So there's quite a lot to manage personally and professionally, so that's a challenge.
Yeah, so you're kind of having to spend a big part of your role, especially as an artistic director, championing the field and kind of really standing for what your practice is on the wider scale. And then you've got the kind of challenges of the work, you know, working with people with high levels of need and various challenges there. And then the fact that you're working ultimately as freelancers, you're responsible for your own support in that way. Yeah, so and that can be quite, I think you're also saying that can also be quite isolating.
It's a life balance as well, isn't it? It's being able, because especially when you're really passionate about something and you're getting something off the ground, like Kate and I basically started working together, and then between us we had 3 children whilst we were working and building up the company. So, you know, it's sort of like, how do you do what you believe in, push, you know, what your own practice as well and your own personal development whilst looking after brand new babies and trying to feed yourself and pay rent. And you've got the life aspect as well. So you're doing all of that work, championing that field, and you've also got a life and a family and all of those challenges. Thank you. And I'm sure that people watching this will really relate
relate to that, especially other artists who are kind of setting up for themselves in, you know, doing that work and forging new areas of work and everything. So thriving facilitators, kind of what made you decide to take the plunge and join thriving facilitators? I'd love to know that. I'm sure people watching would love to know that. And also, did you have any doubts about joining? Just wondered how you felt about that.
So I think I had been in touch with you on Twitter because one of the things that we really try to work on is making sure that we are authentic in our practice. And I had taken a personal interest in the support that was needed for staff that we were working with. And so I think I'd got in touch with you about something to do with that. And then you had let me know that you were going to start setting this thing up. And it was sort of like this thing, Thriving Facilitators. And it was sort of like, well, hold on, actually, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is about supporting practitioners in the field. And it being wider than just necessarily the arts, isn't it? It's for anyone that sort of is heart-centered. And so there was part of me that was intrigued because it's like, well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm saying is needed for these people that I work with. But ultimately, where's mine? Where do I find mine? And being in Hampshire and working in arts and the criminal justice system is pretty niche, and there's not a lot of other people around. Plus, I think I'd finished my finished my master's in applied theatre, and that meant then there wasn't space to. I wasn't being told I had to reflect on things and get, you know, have that space for discussion. So yeah, I mean, anyway, the point is that I noticed it was happening. I was very intrigued, and then I was thinking, well, it's online. Not really up for that.
You weren't sure about that, were you?
No, I wasn't sure about that because I thought I really want a space where I can go and like skill share with people and like be in a room. Like I really vibe off other people, and that's why the work that we do, like I learn so much from being in those spaces. I'm not just a practitioner, I'm a participant, you know. And but obviously when you're a practitioner, you're holding the space, so you know you can give some, but you can't give everything, and I needed a space for that. So yeah, I wasn't sure how it would work online because I'm not very into the tech. So Kate's the tech whiz in our relationship. But
you decided to give it a go.
Decided to give it a go, Sheila.
You did this. Was it January last year?
Yeah, from the beginning.
From the beginning. Yeah. So actually, it was before January, but we officially got started in January last year. But we'd already been meeting before then. Yeah. So you were one of the first. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that I did because I feel like it gives me my space. It means that I'm actually being truthful when I'm suggesting that this is what people need. I'm doing it for myself, and it's so insightful and supportive in terms of just we're all used to being on Zoom now, but I'm really grateful that I had it before everyone started going on Zoom. It made it less scary, and you get so much good debate. Like obviously you can hear and see people, but you know, I'm meeting people that I wouldn't normally be able to meet, and I'm hearing things that I need to hear, and it makes me feel definitely that in this industry, like we're not on our own, and it's affirming. You know, it's a battle a lot of the time, and so yeah, it's really good. I really do enjoy it, and I'm really glad that I committed to it. And you know, also when you're paying, like it's not that much at all. You know, I think Joe yesterday referenced it to a coffee or something like that a day or whatever. But also, I'm investing in myself. And I think it's important. And I know there's lots of paperwork. There's not lots of paperwork, but there's activities you can do online. I mainly, if I'm really honest, I really just switch into the group meetings. And I really enjoy the book club as well. I think some of those titles have really been like, don't know, just really fits into my practice as well. So it's really layered.
And you know, in Thriving Facilitators, we have a roadmap, which is like a journey for sort of supporting self-reflection that starts with survive, unlock, connect, challenge, and thrive. What do you? How useful have you found that to help you reflect on kind of where you're at in your own journey?
I think I find it useful to ask to look at those questions, and obviously during lockdown and during everything that's happening, it's been tricky because you know, we're not actually physically practicing at the moment. So what it has meant is that where I'll naturally kind of relate those things to work, I'm giving myself the opportunity to really practice my practice on myself. I talk about that a lot, like, how can I be doing this work if I'm not doing it for myself?
Yeah.
But it really relates to, we just had some evaluation reports just come out for our creating change work, which you will be able to see, anyone, if they go on our website once we put it out there. But Alex, who's the researcher, has written something. It's called the theory of change, and it's in 3 different stages of how she sees participants move through and go backwards and forwards, and it's really similar. It's not obviously exactly the same in any way, but it's very similar. And I just think we're all human, aren't we? That's what happens when we're learning new things. So yeah, I do find it really useful because it just brings me back.
Yeah.
It's grounding.
And what kind of, so as well as there's meetups, there's sessions that are more designated as supervision stroke reflective practice, where members are encouraged to reflect on their practice. And like you say, that's not been the case for some people. That's been challenging for them. Some people have been practicing through lockdown, other people the work has sort of stopped, but we have that aspect. And then there's more kind of workshoppy sessions where I might bring in a theme or a concept. And so for example, we've looked at thought habits, and we've looked at kind of reaction to forgotten responsivity, reactivity to responsibility. And so how useful have you found some of these sort of different ways of thinking about your human experience how useful has that been for you and your practice?
Massively. It basically helps me, and in two respects, I guess, where it's like, on one hand, a lot of that stuff we use that in different ways, and I didn't realize, but we use that in our work with the women and with the men, when we talk about we play different exercises, and we learn through metaphor. So a lot of that is kind of reflective on our behaviors and our reactions to things, and impulse and those sorts of things, and learning about habits and and the narratives that we put on things through image theatre and forum theatre. So actually it's just another pair of glasses for me to wear to remind myself of these things and relate it for myself, rather than always holding it for others. And I find, well, we've done a whole day workshop before, and I wasn't sure how I would fare online for a whole day. But also, as a practitioner, it's so nice to have someone else facilitate something for you and give you space to learn. Like, I never really enjoyed school that much, and it's not like that. But I'm in a position now where I want to feed myself with knowledge, and this provides it for me. Thriving Facilitators definitely gives me that. It helps a lot, and that habitual thinking. It's just good to always be reminded a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, and you've said several. I know that when you just referred to the glasses, that often that's really helped you at times to just remind yourself what glasses am I wearing today, as a way of kind of just being compassionate with yourself. And
because academically we use that, don't we? We'll often say through the lens of this. Yes. Like, actually, I'm into that. I've done a master's. I wrote my dissertation, but like, I am more active. I need to think about actual glasses. So yeah, however, but people take it different ways, don't they?
Yeah. So, oh, Helena's watching. She's talking about the planning day. I think she might be referring to the planning day that we had, where we were looking. Yeah, we spent the whole day working together, didn't we?
Yeah, that was good. That was good. And you feel like you're part of a group. You feel like you're actually part of a group of people, even though we've never met physically, which is bizarre. More normal now, I suppose. But yeah.
Yeah. So what would you say to someone who might be feeling hesitant about investing in this, because there is an investment? Tasha's saying she loved that day too. Lovely. Yeah. So what would you be saying to someone who might be feeling hesitant about joining Thriving Facilitators?
I would say I hear you. I feel that. I think it's always. The other thing is that you can always leave. It's not like you're locked into something and that's that. That it's nowhere near as much as a gym membership. I think Joe said something like just take the plunge, and I was thinking, do you know what? Yeah, have a think about it. But equally, if you're not so, I mean, be bothered about yourself. Give yourself as much compassion and care as you might other people. And I think it's a really interesting group of people that have come and started to join. And the more you use it, the more you discover for yourself. And if you felt like it wasn't working, there would be no judgment in wanting to leave, but you don't know until you try. The conversations are really interesting, and it's good to be able to hear other people's perspectives, so you're not locked in your own nut all the time. I mean, I would recommend it, and it's not about selling it. It's like, actually, if you're a heart-centered practitioner for others, then we need to learn to be that for ourselves.
Yeah,
I actively advocate for that.
Yeah. No, I agree. Obviously, I agree, but just taking that time to show up for yourself and to look at that a bit. Look at what does it mean to show up as a heart-centered practitioner, and really deepen what that looks like. Is really important if that's what we're committed to doing.
Yeah, and it enhances my practice. So all the things that I am learning, because that is basic, that is kind of what we do in our work as well. It is about this, about being good to ourselves, self-care. A lot of the time, we're needs led, and actually that is the need for everyone we're working with is belonging, connection, learning how to communicate with one another, being able to listen, sharing. That's key, isn't it? So yeah, I mean, you can also learn a lot for your own practice in terms of what you're delivering, I suppose.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks very much, Jen, for coming here and talking about your experience and sharing with us your work with Bareface Theatre. So if people wanted to get in touch with you to find out more about what you do, if you give me the contact details, I can just post that into this post.
Yeah, no worries.
Above, and then people can contact you directly.
Please do. Have a lovely new report for everyone to read.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading it myself. Okay, so to viewers out there, the membership is going to be opening on Thursday. I think it's closing on the membership. A possibility for joining, I think, is closing on Sunday. So there's about 4 days when we'll be open. So do bear that in mind if you're interested in, like Jen says, just giving it a go. Okay. Yeah. Great to chat to you.
Thanks, Sheila. Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye.